Oh, bad away, do that. Not bad at all. Hello, everybody. Welcome into the 55th episode of From the Firefly podcast. My name is Callum. I will be your host. A bit of a different time this evening. A long trip back from Darlington this morning. By the time I got back and got sorted, it's been a little bit later than I normally would. And then you had Charlton Live and everything else going on. So I hope we're all doing well. We're here now. Chat about. Well, I was going to chat about a really, really big game on Saturday, I thought, but actually, it's a game now that feels important, don't get me wrong, but it feels as if there's a lot less pressure than there was going into the game last night. I'm still sort of processing in my own head how we actually won that game of football. I saw the lineup. I was in a pub in Middlesbrough, and the lineup came out. And I looked at it, went to my mate. I went, "That's a bit of a slap in the face, isn't it? Really?" And to those of us that had travelled, and I don't think I was the only one. Back three all rotated. Obviously still got the backup goalkeeper in goal. Maybe he won't be the backup going forward, but who knows? But back up there, not much can be done about that. You had Cody playing centre back for the first time for us, and a front two that was sort of rotated in Miles and Callum. And I sort of looked at the team and I went, against this Middlesbrough side, I wasn't expecting anything even with a first choice 11. So to beat them with backups all over the place was a very nice surprise. I don't think it's necessarily even a managerial masterclass. Even it was go and do the only thing we really could do up there, which was put 11 men behind the ball and ask them to break us down. And much like they can only do once against Leicester, and much like they couldn't do against Oxford, Middlesbrough struggled to do that, and they couldn't break us down. There, 34 shots, 15 of them were blocked. Mannion had one save in the first half to make. He made a good stop to tip it onto the bar. Bar probably should have had a penalty off of that, if I'm honest with you all, from the perspective that I had in the away end at the Riverside. But it was a strange atmosphere. You wouldn't think you were playing against the team that was second in the league and sort of odds on for promotion, and got a good young manager, good exciting players, one of the best midfielders in the league, if not the best in the league, and it was quiet and it was knife edgy, and they seemed frustrated before a ball had even been kicked, and there was a lot of pressure, I think, on Middlesbrough last night, and we had none. It was a free hit, right? Nathan Jones never let you think it's a free hit, but it's a proper free hit of a game for us, and we just went and sat in and dug in, and they didn't create a heck of a lot, minus that one chance. Callum goes down the other end. Beautiful ball from Harry Clark. He should be scoring from there. Bryn makes a decent stop. And then it just sort of settled into this. Middlesbrough had a lot of the ball, didn't do a lot with it. They didn't really try and turn in behind us. Connor Cody was marshalling that back three, I thought, really, really well. Keenan Goff playing well, considering. McCoy Gillespie, I thought, had a very good game in there, quite surprisingly. And a lot of that was because Middlesbrough don't want to turn you around, right? They don't want you to have you face your own goal. They're quite happy to have the ball and try and pass you to death. And they're a team that are a nightmare to go 1-0 down to. But if you can keep them at bay, they sort of just start to run out of ideas. And I think we saw that last night. It was the same ball all the time. It was the same couple of players getting into space and the same players trying to play it around into the same spots. And it just didn't work. And we just were happy to sit in. I wasn't sort of sat there. I was biting my fingers, don't get me wrong, but I wasn't sat there sort of thinking, oh, they're going to score right now. the very few moments it felt as if they were going to score. Uh, just didn't have a heck of a lot going forward. Thought Tommy Conway looked really, really poor. I thought they really missed, like, funny enough, ironically, a Josh Coburn type, right? Someone to get on the end of some of the balls they were trying to put across the box, but even they weren't crossing it that much because there's no height in there. And I think it was Doherty was doing a man marking job on Hayden Hackney, which he did well, and he came off absolutely knackered from following him around because Hackney covers so much ground for a midfielder. And then we just kind of get this long throw, and we make a sub, which was a sub that made sense at the time, which was to get an out ball on. As much as I thought Leeburn and Callum were okay, there was no out ball, so we needed the pace. He brought TC on. TC had a really poor game. But he brought them on, and we sort of took the throw right after that sub, and it's a great throw from Harry Clark first. It's a great throw, and Conor Cray takes a lovely first touch and then just tucks it in. But he seems almost surprised himself by putting it in, and in that away end, it took us a second, I think, to realise almost we'd scored, and it was such a strange experience, and that just flattened the Middlesbrough crowd, really, really flattened them. And if I was them, I would be worried, because if I'm almost anybody else, I go up there, and even if I'm a more sort of adroit attacking side than Charlton are, and most teams in the division probably are, I'll probably stick 11 men behind the ball and get them to try and break me down, try and hit them on the counter, because they're happy to have the ball. But they're not doing a heck of a lot with it. And we sort of saw, I guess, the duality of Middlesbrough in the way that they dismantled QPR and the way in which they struggled to break us down, is that they weren't under pressure at Loftus Road in the same way because they were the away side, and the way that they played was very much sort of step on the front foot and hold the ball but play it around. But at home, they sort of got on the ball, but it wasn't that front-footed at times. We didn't need to press them particularly because it was all kind of in that, not quite the final third, but almost like the top third of the final third, if that makes sense. So, weirdly, I'm sat here saying that we faced 34 shots, but I'm not sat here saying I spent most of the game worried we were going to concede. TC really should be done better with the ball that comes in from Carey. He keeps himself onside well, and then he just takes a bad first touch, and proceeds to fall over. It's not a great look, to be honest with you. I don't criticize TC too much on this podcast. I understand, I think, what he's trying to do with him. So when I do say he was poor, he was pretty poor. I'm sure there'll be other podcasts that will be a lot louder about it. I don't subscribe to the idea he's a League One player or anything like that. I think, again, he's a winger playing up front, and you're knocking long balls to him. Get him on the last man, right? He's clearly being told to stand in some of these places, and I think that tactically Nathan will have to look at that in the summer and figure out, if you're going to give him a championship sort of value extension, you're going to have to get more out of him, and the way to get more out of him is to play him off the last man. But that's more playing him as a wide forward rather than as a winger, and you're going to need to get the right sort of blend. But it just didn't work yesterday. He made a couple of defensive contributions actually against Sarmiento when he came on. But it wasn't like at the end of that game there were loads and loads of opportunities. Was it Conway who missed the header in the 91st minute or something? It was a difficult header. It's going over his head, and he has to lean back and can't quite knock it back across goal. But it just wasn't a heck of a lot from Borough, and I think that it's hard, really, other than Cody, to pull out a player for us that was great, because it was such a unit. It was a team that played as a unit. I mean, you probably could have had Tyrone Brooks in goal for most of it, and it would have been fine. No criticism of Mannion, by the way, made a really good save in that first half, as I say. But outside of that moment, there just wasn't. It was really, really impressive the way that we defended in that game. You can have the questions about not having the attacking impetus, but you're away at a side that's much, much better than right. You've got to sit in. You've got to sit in, and Nathan seemed almost surprised we won it at the end as well, and it was a good day. it was a good day. It was a good night at the Riverside, and I had a chicken palm. That was great as well. But it's one of those. It's one of those games where we did the Middlesbrough or Wrexham did to us, which was we absolutely got dominated in terms of possession, in terms of attacking verve, in terms of attacking impetus, and we just hit them with a bit of a sucker punch, and they couldn't respond to that. In terms of the wider context of it, it means that as we head to the car park on Saturday, if you win there, to go down from here would require you to really, really mess it up, considering the fixtures we have, and considering the number of points we're already on. If you get a 9-point week, we can all basically crack open the pina coladas on Saturday, Saturday evening. It's gonna be difficult. Oxford have won back to back to back. The team sort of in that bottom five that's really sort of turned it on. QPR are dropping like a stone now. All of a sudden, they're probably going to be okay. They're on the same number of points as us, but they can't score a goal. But if you win on Saturday, all of a sudden you can be sat as high as 13th, which is slightly wild to think about, considering where we're coming from. But safety was the main thing, right? It was all about getting to safety. That win yesterday is as much as it may have been sort of that's Nathan Jones wins wherever Nathan Jones. Like that's what you need. Stay up in these divisions. You need a couple of games where you probably scrape it. Did we deserve to win at Portman Road? Yeah, probably did for that 6-minute spell. But they could have scored 2 or 3. Hull probably could have scored a couple more than they did last night. Middlesbrough probably should have scored 1 or 2. So we won on the fine on at the tight margins, and that will make Nathan very happy, I'm sure. But going to Oxford hopefully will be a lot more sort of. It's a don't lose sort of game. So it's just one of those. Like, if you can win it, fantastic. If you don't lose it, it's a good point. We don't ever do well there anyway. It's a horrible away end to be in. So if we do what we're supposed to do, which is to go there, play front footed enough, that we're able to take the game to Oxford a little bit, but we're never going to dominate the ball. We're not going to be some sort of expansive side, but we just really need to match Oxford and their confidence at the moment. As I say, they've looked pretty good. Oxford still some ways, but some of the quality in that side. Why Makoso was loaned out by Luton, I'll never understand. Donnelly's a good player, as we know from his time at Orient. Callum Brown's Kieran Brown, is a very, very good centre back. Is it Kieran Brown? Callum Brown, I always forget. That's a perfect go, Dan. You may be interested in. Good goalkeeper. And then Lancashire, obviously, up front, who probably Spurs could do with now with their situation. But if you've got to enjoy games like that, like last night, and you got to use this as you got to take the confidence that game should have given you, that you can compete, even if it wasn't really competing sort of face to face. So man to man, right? If you can compete like that, you should be able to compete in the games coming up. The really big thing as well is Lloyd Jones not getting the yellow card, so him being rested worked. But not getting the yellow card means that it resets now on Saturday. Just a really quick call out before I go and get a couple of the comments. I don't think it'll be a very long podcast. It's a Thursday evening, for goodness sakes. We all have work tomorrow. But there's a couple of little bits. Firstly, Amari Bell came on. Thought it was excellent when he came on. Secondly, why have I forgotten his name already? I'd had it. We've got a new academy director who's come in, whose name I will now just quickly look up because I cannot remember it. Greg Miller, former head of Portsmouth Academy. Decent academy at Pompey. Well regarded in the game. It's very, very difficult to come in and replace Stephen Avery. As I say, name something after him, give him a statue, whatever you want. That man's kind of kept this club alive for the last decade, so decade and a half almost. So whatever they gave Mr. Avery, I don't think would be enough. But it's good that that's been sorted. Horrible news about Micah from the weekend. I'm hoping it's not an ACL, but it sounds like it really could be. Horrific tackle, absolutely horrific tackle, um, by the Newport County player. Retrospective bans, I think, need to be a thing in football for dreadful tackles. They do it for other things. Why can we not do it for tackles that are leaving people out for months and months and months and months? This is a couple of little bits of club news. Oh, and then also, obviously, the season tickets are available for those that are interested. I am moving to the East Stand, so if you're in the East, come say hello. Right, I'm gonna grab a couple of these comments. I don't know who's in here. Got Mark and Sam. It's a quiet one today. I thought it would have been. Oh, Mark's giving me the good evening. Good evening, you know. You're a lightweight Callum. I was on site an hour from home at 8 a.m. this morning. Yes, productivity was low, but I was there. I intentionally took the days off, Mark. I've done that before. I went up after Derby. We beat them 2-1. I remember that train. I was working in Newbury at the time. The train from London to Newbury was not pleasant. I was literally half dead going up to the office. But nah, good times, good times. Sam, yeah, stunned when Tom showed me the lineup after seeing the performance. Never going to question Nathan's decisions. Oh, you should be able to question Nathan's decisions. I thought it was a bit of a slap in the face to away fans, but it turns out that because they're not going to try and turn you around Middlesbrough, it's the game that you actually could make that change because everything's just going to kind of stay in front of you anyway. I thought Cody really sort of, as we sort of talk about Macca here, I think Cody really sort of coached Keenan and Macca through that game. You could hear him again, like never ending speaking, but you can just sort of hear him, you know, Marsh saying, "You go, you stay, you come, you go." You know, it's the leadership I think we were really missing in that poor period that we had when we had injuries and everything else. We just didn't have that communication, and I think that adding that's been so helpful. Look to have had Rob Apter at QPR levels a bubble from the. Yeah, it wasn't. It wasn't great. It wasn't great. I don't. Mark, have you got the Norwich supporters coach for next Saturday? Oh, that's brilliant. That is absolutely brilliant. Yeah, and then I guess we could have stayed both clubs and come back to something. That was what I was going to moan about. Sorry, on the thing where I forgot, I lost my train of thought. It was the scheduling. Scheduling is just absolutely ridiculous, isn't it? Absolutely ridiculous scheduling. You're going to send fans to the furthest possible away day on a Wednesday night. Ridiculous. We then got one of the closest away days. We play on a Saturday, and you put it at 12:30, right? Except for Oxford's not that close on the way day because the bus takes 40 minutes to get blooming out there. So it's just like, why didn't we play Oxford last night and play Middlesbrough on Saturday? Now, the way the results have worked out, probably we're all okay with it. But just the schedule, every single time the EFL can mess with fans' plans, they do. Every time they can make it difficult, there's a train not running or you can't get home, they'll do it. I get it, it's done by a supercomputer. I understand this, right? But come on. You've got to take into account fans and the fact that we're human beings and we have jobs and we're the ones paying for your product. Like football without fans is it would be a nothingness, right? It's just, I mean, the Sky TV options bit, right? Like, how many people are going to be watching Oxford play Charlton on a Saturday afternoon, on a Saturday at 12:30? It's because I don't even think it's the main event thing. I think it's the Sky Sports Plus. I really, really don't understand why we have to do that. And I get it, right? The money from TV companies is really, really important, and we need to, without that, the whole sort of EFL finances falls apart. To be honest with you, EFL finance, everything's in the Guardian article that came out today, are pretty precarious anyway. We're basically all at the behest of billionaires spending millions of pounds a year. But I honestly, it does my head in that sort of thing. Just like, consider fans before you put some of these fixtures on. Have somebody be able to correct the supercomputer, because that's something where you look at it and you go, okay, we'll just flip that round. It wouldn't have been difficult. Middlesbrough to Blackburn is a lot closer than Charlton to Middlesbrough, right? Just these really, really basic decisions that I don't understand why they can't get right. Anyway, I'm going to call that a nice short one this evening for a game that I'm very, very happy that we've won. I'm feeling very, very comfortable now with the idea that we're about there. One more win. We've still got Sheffield Wednesday away to play, a draw at home, and we should be okay. But fair play to the players. Fair play to Nathan Jones last night. And for once, I actually appreciated being called a nutter. I thought his responses on the fans was a very good response in his post-match press conference. And the Chronicles is tomorrow at 8 now. If anyone is going to come and join that, I think Emma's back, so come and join us to chat a little bit more about the game, a little bit more in depth. But yeah, thanks for hopping on, and I will see you probably Sunday. Be earlier this time, back to that the 6:15 time. After Super Sunday football on Sunday to chat through the Oxford game. Have a nice evening, everybody, or if you're listening, have a nice rest of whatever you're doing, and I will see you on Sunday. Bye for now.